Hi and good evening. My name is David, and today we'll be playing a game of Good Society. Good Society is a game of uh, Regency area sort of romance drama, etc., as inspired by the novels of Jane Austen, amongst others. This game is by Story Brewers. If you want to find out more about that, I'll put a link down to the website where I can see more about it below. This is the fourth session of this we've run now, so we're a little way into it. So do check on one of the early ones if you want a better intro to the game itself. This game is being run as part of the Gauntlet, which is an online role-playing community. You can find out more information about the various stuff that we do at gauntlet-rpg.com. Again, I'll put a link to that down below. But as well as we have this sort of calendar where you can sign up for playing online games, much like this one. We also have a monthly gaming magazine called Codex. We have a series of podcasts. So if any of that sounds interesting, do check it out. So I think that's sort of roughly where we're at. We will. I'll quickly go over the safety tools we'll be using today. Just as a quick refresher, we will be using the X card. If we want to just quickly remove some content from the story, from what's happening, we can just invoke that by making an X sign with your hands, putting something in chat, or just saying I'd like to X card that. As ever, might ask you to explain what is being X carded, but I won't ask you to justify why. If you don't want it in there, if it's not making the game worse for you it being there, then we'll get rid of it. No problem. We'll also be using script change. As ever, we have the pause, fast forward, and rewind commands, as well as the frame by frame and instant replay if needed. But these are just quick commands just to let us know that we want to either pause, just to call a quick break in what's going on, to fast forward, to skip over something, or to rewind, to go back and change something and do it in a different way. Just another way of sort of interacting with those tools. And as ever, if you just want to imply the same thing through natural language, that is also all well and good. We will also be using the open door policy. This is just as ever to say that if at any point you do need to leave, whether that be for the rest of the session or just for a quick break, always feel free to do so. It is useful if you can let me know if you are likely to be back or when you are likely to be back. But if you're not in a position to do so, then that's also absolutely fine. We'll be able to muddle on without, so don't worry about that. I will also call out quickly tonight, as I mentioned earlier, I did donate blood earlier today. While I'm feeling mostly fine, I am a bit tired, unsurprisingly. So it is possible that this evening I might need to duck out at some point if I'm, if I don't think I could carry on playing. I'm feeling pretty okay at the minute. I did just have a quick nap, hence a slightly late start. So fingers crossed, I think all should be well. But if I do need to sort of step away, I'll just put myself on mute, turn off my video and all that, and just leave this call running. So feel free to carry on without me if that does happen. But as I said, hopefully I should be fine. With all that said and done, I'm going to ask everyone to introduce their characters. I'll start, as ever, we'll just go through in character keeper order. So I'll start with you, Kieran, if that's okay.
Certainly. Hi, I'm Kieran, mostly here. Him. I am playing the forceful Eva Gracefield, the white sheep in the enormous flock of wolves that is the Greenfield family. I have spent my entire time trying to marry off all my various cousins, and I now feel that my life, I need to think to the family's name, because my disgraceful and useless older brother, Nathaniel, is going to inherit it all, and of course will waste it. I need to work out a way to disinherit him. I have been genuinely moderate to awful, and perhaps most relevantly to the plot, I am vaguely, I'm sort of a witness for something that Abigail Nash's father may or may not have done in a duel, which is the reason why he has disappeared. However, he might be coming back. I've also just fell in love with Isaac Arkwright, which has caused yet more complications for the steadfast Eva. Oh, and I've now got enough negative tags that my entire family no longer listen to a word I say, which is going to be troublesome for her.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Yeah, next, Anders, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about who you're playing.
Yes, hello. I'm Anders. I use he/him pronouns. I am playing Nathaniel Gracefield, who has been surprisingly civil and a bit of a peace broker, even when things have gotten heated between some of the others. And he has recently acquired the reputation a tremendous catch, which I'm sure makes his dear sister very, very happy that her brother is so popular in society at the moment.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So next, I will introduce my character. As mentioned at the top, my name is David, using he/him pronouns, and I am playing Isaac Arkwright. Isaac is a young man of a relatively humble background, but his father is a mill owner, and as such, his family has come into great wealth. He has had the benefit of a good education and the like, and has sort of come to the sort of village in search of a potential wife to help him in his ascent of the social ladder, shall we say. So that is broadly who Isaac is. Last time we saw him at the poetry reading given by Augustus. Not Augustus. By Edgar Gracefield, that was we also saw him interacting with an old school chum of his, Lord Davenport, who was generally belittling and Isaac, and we'll hear a little bit more about Lord Davenport in a moment. But yeah, and with that, I think David, if you'd like to tell us about who you're playing this evening.
Yes, I'm David, he/him pronouns, and I am playing as Lady Abigail Nash, who is a really well-to-do member of the Nash family up until her father was sent away due to some crime or another that was allegedly committed during a duel. So she has since been sent off to live with the Honeyfield family, consisting of her bothersome Aunt Florence and her airheaded cousin Tabitha. And she has, up to this point, been spending quite a lot of time trying to seek revenge on Eva Gracefield for the incarceration of her father. But a couple of complications have arisen, one of which is that Dad is coming back from some undisclosed location. And the second is that she has recently developed the greatest crush on Eva's brother Nathaniel, which really does make things complicated. And that's where she is at this point.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Robbie, if you would like to introduce us to your character.
Yes, I am Robbie. I use he/him pronouns, and I'm playing Lempster Marwood, who uses he/him pronouns. Lempster is from a well-established, wealthy family. He had taken a tour of Europe that turned out to be rather prolonged, which has created all sorts of rumors and speculation as to what Lempster would have been up to. Now, one of the things that did happen, perhaps not generally known, but he did have an affair with Nathaniel when he was touring in Europe, and he's been kind of coming to grips with the fact that Nathaniel now seems to be something of a hot commodity in the circles that he interacts with. Lempster also feels a little bit guilty about how he has treated Isaac Arkwright in the past. He kind of used Isaac as a scapegoat to kind of duck some blame from his family. And when he saw Isaac being treated rather rudely by Lord Brutus, Lempster did kind of push Lord Brutus on that kind of poor, despicable treatment, and it ended up resulting in something of a little fight at the end of the evening when the poetry reading was happening.
Awesome, thank you very much. So yeah, last time we had our novel. We started a new cycle. We had our first novel chapter of that cycle, and we did the sort of reputation cleanup on that. I also have gained a positive condition, which I have not yet chosen. I am going to give that some thought and pick one of those shortly. The next phase that we will be entering is the rumor and scandal phase. So for this, I will draw everyone's attention to the rumor and scandal tab of the Character Keeper. So what we will do on this is much as we did last time, although we actually have a couple of fading ones this time because of the order of the thing. So what we'll do is everyone will get the opportunity to suggest a rumor or to spread a rumor that has in the past been suggested. Once a rumor has been spread, it is now sort of available for use, as sort of we've discussed before. If a rumor is not spread, it will be marked as fading. Essentially, will slowly work its way out of the game. In fact, actually, what the precise order of doing this is we will do our 2 turns of creating and spreading rumors, and then we will remove any that are not spread and are fading, and then we'll mark all the remaining ones that aren't spread as fading. So that kind of cleans up those older ones. But yeah, so we'll do this sort of the way it usually suggests, which is kind of snake style. So we'll start with Kieran. We'll work our way across the Character Keeper to Robbie. Robbie will then go again, and then we'll work our way back the other direction. So yeah, with that said, Kieran, would you like to either spread an existing rumor or create a new one to bring to the table?
Just to actually, obviously it's been a couple of weeks, just to define what the fiction is in terms of Abigail's father returning. Did we define in any way, like it was an escape at sea, or was it like, what was it, Pacific, or was it kind of open? Because we kind of had it kind of also open how I know as well, I think. I just want to make sure I understand everything that's happened.
I keep thinking that, I mean, I don't know that we confirmed one particular idea, but the one that I recall is that the captain of the ship took some pity on him and dropped him off in some Spanish port.
Oh, that's good.
Or something to that effect. That's what I recall. I mean, I don't know that we ever confirmed, yes, that's how it went, but that's what I remember talking about last time.
Okay, well, I'll start then, I think. Is that Lord Davenport has been seen abroad. Actually, Lord Davenport is seen abroad and increasingly not abroad, in that he might be returning to these lands.
Sorry, is that Lord Nash? You,
Oh yeah, sorry, not
sorry.
Lord. The end.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've said Davenport wrong. Lord Nash, rather. Lord Nash has been seen travelling, i.e., not in Australia.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So yeah, Anders, it's your opportunity to either create a new rumor or spread a rumor that has already been put out on the table.
Yeah, I spread this rumor about Lord Nash. I think that's interesting.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I am. Yeah, I am actually going to. I'm going to suggest a new rumor, which is yeah, I think I'm actually going to go because I think it's a nice melding of the fictional and sort of intimating at what is actually going on. But I'm going to say that there, oops, I'm typing in the wrong box. That there is a rumor that Lempster and Isaac had a torrid affair.
I just remember I did write to the Continent, which is a story, and we have not. That's a plot beat we have not picked up yet. So
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So next, yeah, David, again, your choice to either spread a rumor or put a new one forwards.
If I put a rumor on the board, is it my character who is perpetuating it?
No, not
fiction.
necessarily.
Okay.
This is purely a kind of yeah, you know, a kind of societal level thing that's going on, as it were.
I was just thinking that because of the great dramatic conversation that Lempster had with Esther, and I think the Reverend's wife perhaps was there. I forget who it was that was there, but
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see a rumor being spread that Lempster has been involved in some kind of brotherhood of a cult or otherwise suspicious origin.
Cool.
So I'll plug that in.
haven't we already got that rumor? Like the Lempster became a member of Secret Society in Europe.
Oh, that's in there. You're right. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's where it all came from, actually. So could I? And that one is already spread. Do I need to spread it for this round to avoid it fading?
No, it won't. Once it has been spread, essentially, it is in play until it's used up.
Okay.
So yeah.
I will go ahead and spread the torrid affair one then.
Sure thing. Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, Robbie, now you get a chance to sort of go twice essentially, so you can create a new rumor, spread existing rumors, or create a new rumor and then spread it. You know, obviously, whatever works out for you.
Okay, and is my mic working okay right now, or should I make another adjustment?
It's still a bit quiet. But it's audible, better? But yeah, that's perfect.
That's better. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I will create a rumor, and the rumor is I'm kind of something that will perhaps work with the fact that people seem to be interested in Nathaniel, at something along the lines of Nathaniel I was thinking of either some kind of news about some kind of wealth that Nathaniel has inherited, or perhaps some kind of title that we could do this, that this is kind of getting into kind of Jane Austen territory, that Nathaniel is inheriting a estate due to what, in Pride and Prejudice, what is it that Mr. Collins, he has some type of legal entitlement that kind of obscure legal thing?
I think he's the oldest male heir or something. He's like because the main the girls of the family are all women, so so he has a stronger claim. I think there's something like that.
So something, and we can make the kind of specifics of the kind of legal situation vague, but Nathaniel, through some kind of obscure legal clauses, is inheriting a large estate.
Could be something on our mother's side, perhaps.
Yes, yeah, and right, has to do with kind of tracing all sorts of the branching family trees that is involved.
Explains why Nathaniel's so suddenly eligible, that kind of like.
It's not because of his good behavior, it's just the money.
And then I go again, right?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, you can again create another rumor, or you can spread the one you've just made, or spread an existing one. Any of those is cool.
Maybe I'm also like wondering about picking up on some of the minor, bring some of the minor characters back into play. Maybe we could have something with Spencer Collingwood. Because we haven't really seen him very much of late. Maybe there's a rumor that Spencer Collingwood is taking some heat because the higher ups in the clergy are kind of noting that his flock is going astray. Right, that the higher ups in the clergy are not happy with the way that he's been conducting himself.
Yeah, that sounds good. Awesome. Yeah, so thank you. And so yeah, David, again back to you. So again, you may either create a new rumor or spread one that's already out there.
I am to confirm. Oh yeah, there it is. I kind of like the idea of putting poor Reverend Collingwood through the ringer a little bit. So I'll spread that one. He's, to be fair, he is hurting cats with all of us. So I'll I'll put him under a little bit more pressure. I'll spread that one.
Brilliant, thank you. So for me, I think I think I am going to go for that, spreading that one about Nathaniel. Cool. Anders, your turn. And again, if you do want, you can if you want spread one of the rumours that is fading at the moment, though they will go away at the end of this phase. If not, but you may also create a new rumour of your own as well.
Yeah, I came up with one that I want to put in there. The poetry reading at, let's call it Gracefield Hall, ended in a huge brawl. Which is kind of true.
Yeah. The rumors do not necessarily need to be false. That's brilliant. Thank you. Lastly, Kieran, back around to you. You may add a new rumor if you wish. Obviously, if you do, it will not be spread this time, but it might be next time. Or you can spread an existing rumor.
It's like I have a desperate urge to add an extra rumor, but it's quite similar to what Anders has just added. I wanted to add that we hear Lempster has learned an incredible martial art in his travels into the continent, which is how he bested. But I just feel that I should probably spread the one that exists rather than add that one for now, because it's like leaving them both floating there is the thing. But I do love the idea of people going, yeah, he knows this, he has skills, far beyond any Englishman. So I will.
Perfect. So we will now mark those the two rumors that were previously fading are now removed completely. We've actually spread. We've done an actual 50-50 split this time, so we have spread as many rumors as we've created, so nothing will be marked as fading this time. Awesome. So that is our rumors phase. The next phase we'll be going into is the epistolary phase again. So as a reminder, in our epistolary phase, we will each get the opportunity to write a letter from one of either our main character or one of our secondary characters. Or if people wish, we also have some of the additional expanded options from the Emma playset in play, which allow us to frame some little vignettes around our main characters, or to have them write a journal entry or describe a dream or a nightmare that they've experienced. So with that said, does anyone have an idea for the first epistolary scene?
I have one that I apparently wrote down on a note the last time we played. Oh, you can't see that. Which I am very great, which I'm happy for, since it was so long ago. I would have forgotten it otherwise. So I can go. This is a letter from Nathaniel to Florence Honeyfield, where Nathaniel apologizes for the whole event, basically, with the poetry reading, about his father's lack of propriety and the ruckus outside afterwards. And he also asks Florence to convey his an inquiry to Lady Nash about her, I guess, her condition, hoping that she wasn't too upset by the events of the evening, and apologizing specifically to her for his sister's incessant scheming and troublemaking.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Does someone else have an idea in mind for their epistolary scene, or their first epistolary scene?
Out of character, is Isaac is sort of fond of Abigail. I can't quite remember, but I know he had something of a nightmare, or a bad dream rather, about Brutus sort of stealing Abigail from him or something to that effect. But I wasn't sure if he had feelings that were kind of well formed, or if it was just sort of a passing thought. Have we established that?
I don't think we've established it in any detail. No, I think it is. I think that I think that Isaac certainly has a fondness for Abigail. Whether it actually, rises to the level of like a full on romantic feelings towards her, I think I'm not certain on. But he's certainly, he's certainly fond of her, and in the most pragmatic of senses, he is obviously aware that she would be a good match were she to accept him. But it's probably more a kind of, if I am to marry for status, then someone that I actually get along well with would be a.
That makes sense. That being the case, I think I'm happy to go next.
Cool.
I'll send Isaac a brief letter in which I, in so many words, state that I am very fond of Nathaniel and don't know what to do about it because he's a Gracefield. And so I'll, in so many words, say, my dearest Isaac, I write to you with my heart torn apart into two opposite directions. On the one hand, I have long committed to taking vengeance for my father's unjust incarceration and putting Eva Gracefield back into her rightful place. And yet, having been to this most recent poetry reading, I have come to see that Nathaniel is not like the others of his family. No, he is a considerate, amiable, worldly sort. He is unlike the rest, and I am completely at odds with myself regarding what I should do about it. If you have any advice that you could possibly offer, any wisdom that you have built up over the course of your worldly travels, by all means, please do assist me. My heart is at a complete and total impasse. Yours, Abigail.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Does someone else have an idea for their first scene?
I've got a brief sort of letter scene. It's Lord Brutus. Like the night of the thing, he returns home. It's stormy, or at least he is. It bursts into, and it's like demands a servant. Bring me writing paper, a pen, and you to write the letter. Write this, dear Mama. The worst events have occurred. I have come here a courting and find myself fisticuffs with that Lempster person. I must immediately insist you send my best dueling pistol, my best dueling sword, my second best dueling pistol, my third best dueling sword, my third and fourth best horses. I don't want to take anything I can lose, and my really bad dueling sword. Like, I think I need a selection for these kind of times. Like a gentleman, he may have equaled me in fists, let us say, but I do not think I do not think you can face me with a weapon of a gentleman. Send it in the morning, and I'm going to bed. Good night. And the letter that's sent is just send his swords and guns, and that's all the letter.
Brilliant, thank you. That's great. I think actually I will. Mine will actually be, I think, a response to Lady Nash. So I think Isaac will write back saying, my dearest Abigail, I had the opportunity to make Miss Gracefield's acquaintance the other evening, and he does seem like a decent gentleman. I know his family is racked with scandal, but on top of the wrongs that they have done you. But if you feel he is a man worthy of your attentions, then perhaps seeking out to court him, or to perhaps this would be the oil to pour on the troubled waters that separate your two families. Though I do not know which to advise you. If perhaps you could find a match with him and put the past behind you, but I also would not wish to counsel you to do that which might bring you to any what's what I'm looking for, any upset over the fate of your father. I should, of course, be happy to speak with you, or to do what I may to aid you in this endeavor, if whatever you wish to do. Yours in good faith, etc. Robbie, did you have an idea for your first?
Yes, I think a letter from Lempster to Esther Battle starts off with an apology saying, "Dearest Esther, I had hoped that we would have had an opportunity to converse at the evening of the poetry reading, and I am half embarrassed, but also half happy that I was able to put Lord Brutus in his place. However, that did unfortunately prevent me from being able to pay due attention to you. Please do not fear that I have somehow forgotten our last discussion, and I promise that I will make every effort to talk about the in quote marriage issue further. I remain a faithful friend who certainly will do everything in his power to create a happy and satisfying life for you.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, did anyone have an idea for their second epistolary scene?
I've got one actually. I was going to do it as the dawn monologue.
Cool.
As in, and it's literally it's Eva the morning after the party, and she awakes like this, and she just rushes to the window and sort of stands there and says, she'll say, Isaac, it's a biblical name, that speaks well of a true character, a character, and it speaks of trouble. Isaac, beautiful Isaac. And then you kind of imagine hard cutting to her in front of the peacock, feeding the peacock, and so speaking, do you think Isaac would notice me? He's a man of industry, and I am in this blighted family. Isaac Arkwright. Then if it's Eva Arkwright. Eva Arkwright. Eva Arkwright, she says to the dawn as it's, coming up ahead of us. And she kind of just, there's imagining a very different life away from this house and all the work she has to do in it. And that's where I think we sort of leave her in that. And the peacock just sort of looking at her somewhat confusedly.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Yeah, does someone else have an idea for their second scene?
Could it be a scene in which Reverend Collingwood does not necessarily write a letter, but rather receives a notice from the higher ups in the church hierarchy, essentially chastising him for not leading his flock or shepherding his flock appropriately, and they sort of give this itemized list of various happenings around town that they've become aware of that he was present at, and which were not handled appropriately, like that kind of thing. Would that work? I
think so. Yeah, that seems fair enough in this situation.
So I think that it'll be just a brief shot of him sitting down to kind of a morning tea or breakfast or something to that effect, and one of his servants brings him an envelope, and he says, good, I've been expecting this. And he opens it up and begins to read it aloud. Reverend Collingwood, it begins. We have become aware of a number of, he pauses, misfortunate events which have transpired under your watchful eye. And he begins to sort of list off all the happenings of the last few episodes of this game that he was present at, and there's flashbacks to all of them happening with him, but they're from his perspective, and it's his face looking increasingly confused, defeated, and discouraged as he tries, but just can't hurt all these cats. And that's really the content of the letter, but he essentially ends the scene by sort of setting the letter down with a thump and saying, I have to do something about this. I have to redouble my efforts. I can't allow this to go on anymore. And so that's the way that it'll wrap up with him.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Yeah, does anyone else have an idea for their second scene?
Yeah, I have one for Sydney. He is writing to Isaac again, as he has done before, I believe. Isaac, my son, as you well know, you were sent to that out into the country to make connections and find a suitable match. And now I hear rumors that you were involved in some sort of brawl at an estate of a well-renowned family, and that you have had a falling out with Lord Davenport. This will not do at all. You must stick close to him. He is a very good a good way forward for you, and I cannot believe that you would behave in this in such an inappropriate way. If I do not hear, if you do not have a proposal accepted within the next month, I shall come visit you and arrange things myself.
Excellent.
And,
Excellent.
and I think he signs it Mr. Arkwright, not father or anything like that.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much. Robbie, yeah, did you have an idea for your second scene?
Unmute here. Let's see. Looking at our minor characters, wanting to make sure. Maybe something with Edgar Gracefield. Let's think. Okay, so I'll do an Edgar Gracefield using a weather interlude with the day, a vignette of simple joys or the business of life. So this would be a day, after the poetry reading. Edgar is outside in the garden, and is involved in doing some simple gardening to kind of take in the joys of the flowers that are there. And you do see, though, he thinks he's alone, and so he occasionally pulls out, some of the poem that he had delivered during that poetry reading, and reads out loud to himself some of the kind of choice lines, and he says, ah yes, that was delightful. That was put just perfectly. That metaphor of the ship on the stormy sea just hit exactly the right atmospheric note. The vignette kind of ends, though, with him startled by the loud honk of the peacock, who has kind of come upon him, and is kind of startled by kind of seeing him. And you see kind of Edgar being so kind of shocked and surprised by this, that he kind of falls into the flowers, into the flower bed, as he turns around then and sees the peacock with its tail feathers in full splendor.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I think for my last one, I am going to write from the perspective of Augustus Fortescue. Augustus is writing to his lawyer, I think. Says, "Dear Mr. Smythe, I'm writing to you as I have heard some disturbing rumors that my young nephew, Nathaniel, may be coming into a certain sum of money from our side of the family. And whilst obviously I can do nothing but celebrate the felicity of this event and for the boy, I cannot help but think that maybe there has been some sort of mistake in the probate process for this inheritance. As one of the senior men in the our side of the family, I feel perhaps this money ought to more properly be coming to me. If you could do a little research into this, fulfill all the necessary paperwork to show the line of succession for this sum of money, that I may see the line of descent between where the origin of the money and myself, purely, as you understand, from the perspective of a concerned uncle. Okay, awesome. So our next phase will be our first novel phase our second novel phase, I should say, of this cycle. So once again, we'll get a chance to decide whether we want to do another sort of event scene or visitations or something else. I think before that, we will take we'll take a quick break. So if we come back at 22 and pick up again then. Yeah, we'll sort of make a decision on what we want to see for our next novel chapter. So if you want to be thinking about it on the break, that's cool. But yeah, see you all back in a few minutes. So yeah, as I said, we'll be going now into our next novel chapter. So again, as I've already mentioned, we have the option here of either going for another kind of big event, or just going for some smaller like visitation scenes, where we just get to see some sort of characters interacting on a smaller scale basis in general. I know last time we spoke, before the week we went on last week, we were talking about having another round of visitations again. Is that still what people are feeling like, or do we feel like we want something going on to anchor this around? I think that seems, yeah, cool. So yeah, in which case, as ever, we'll just do give people an opportunity to suggest some scenes of different people interacting. We'll do a few of those until we feel like we're done for this particular novel chapter, and then we'll carry on for the reputation and upkeep and stuff as per. So one of the things I will bring up at this point, I can't remember exactly when. I don't think that this is something that there is necessarily a set phase where this happens, but if we do at the stage, especially because we've still got another couple of sessions to go. If it feels like we want to introduce some new connections for our characters to come in, we can do. Thinking here specifically, we may want to see Lord Nash return at some point. It doesn't have to be right now, but if at any point we do want to sort of bring that into play, feel free to sort of bring in a new connection if one makes sense for your character. So yeah, as I said, I'm going to take the reputation condition that's one of the connections that we currently have is indebted to me for some reason, and is therefore more favorably inclined towards me. As I said, I think I will choose Florence Honeyfield for that. I think that's who's feels like they make most sense to me at the moment. We can leave the exact favor done somewhat vague, unless anyone has a cool idea they'd like to bring in for it. but yeah, like I said, if we do want to bring in another connection on the side, that's also cool. But with that said, does anyone want to kick off our visitation scenes and have sort of a scene they would like to frame up, or a scene they would like to see? I think one of the ones I would actually quite like to do is perhaps a scene with Isaac visiting Abigail, sort of in the aftermath of the party, because they didn't have that much opportunity to interact at the party itself, and they both had some stuff going on there. So I think that could be quite interesting. I'd also be quite interested in maybe Tabitha being present, because I don't think I've had much interaction with her yet, and and also if Florence also wishes to be in attendance, that's also cool. I'm good with that if she's chaperoning. Does that sound cool with people?
Yeah. If I'm reading the thing right, then Tabitha is still on the outs with Abigail. They haven't made up yet.
That condition is in play, yeah.
Yep.
Tabitha does not like me very much right now. But that sounds fine to me, if we'd like to run that scene just briefly.
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll let you decide where you'd like to set it.
Yeah, so I think this is probably going to be at the Honeyfields house, maybe over afternoon tea. That sounds like a suitably, proper occasion. Maybe we're sitting in a little, like a little conservatory or something like that. Sort of sun coming in through the glass and plants and all that around. Awesome. So yeah, Robbie, do you think that Florence will be present for this scene?
I think Florence is there, but I think Florence is she's gonna be in the wings a little bit, at least initially. She's kind of watching in, kind of trying to assess the situation. She's kind of tending to things, but everybody knows that she's also keeping her eyes open and listening in at what transpires. So if she needs to swoop in at some point, that's she puts herself in a position to do that. And I think everybody kind of realizes this, right?
She's like pruning the orchids or something. Yeah.
Right.
Perfect. So yeah, how obvious is it that that Tabitha is still upset with her sister?
I think she greets Isaac very, very warmly, and is very friendly with him, but she doesn't say anything to Abigail and ignores everything that she says. And if Isaac and Abby are trying to, if they are having a conversation by themselves, then I think she will go sit near near where her mother is pretending to prune the orchids and pretend to read a book, which is something she usually never does, while chatting with Florence.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I think Isaac will say. Thank you again for having me, Lady Abigail. It's been I hope your time at the Gracefields the other evening was sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Was a pleasant one. I feel I must apologize for the disruption at the end of the evening. I'm not quite certain what came over the gentleman, but I hope it did not put you out too much.
Oh, not any more than the poetry reading itself.
I'm sorry. Was it not to your taste? I confess I am somewhat of a fan of Miss Gracefield's work, but I know his words can be somewhat provocative.
Well, it's unconventional, shall we say.
It certainly is that, yes.
I wanted to let you know that I appreciated the response to my letter. I have thought about it at length. And I wished to, ask you of your thoughts surrounding a conclusion that I might have drawn to.
Of course, anything I can do to help.
Well, you know that I have been quite at odds with Ms. Gracefield for some time. And at the same time, it has occurred to me that if I spend too long chasing her down for the sake of my father and ignore the importance of marrying well, it is quite ironic, but I'm concerned that I might, grow up to become rather like her, unmarried and angry.
Of course, I understand it. I am facing similar pressures from my own father, though I understand it is not nearly so great a strain upon young men as it is on those of the fairer sex. I understand that why you would have that concern. I have no doubt, Lady Abigail, that a fair lady of your noble breeding will have no difficulty in finding a suitable husband. So I would not wish you to act out of haste on that front. Though, if Mr. Gracefield is to your tastes, then perhaps he would make a good match for you.
I feel he might. It's just that to pursue him would mean necessarily to abandon my my opposition to his sister. Perhaps it is a necessary sacrifice to make, though. It perhaps would ultimately be to my own betterment, and therefore the betterment of my family, to abandon all of this and rather focus on mending where I can and moving forward.
That certainly seems the more charitable course of action, I suppose.
Very well, then. I'll turn over my shoulder. Tabitha. It is uncomfortable for me to say this, but I want you to know that I've decided to turn over a new leaf. I am reforming my ways, and I wish for you not to hold any more bitterness against me over my past behaviors. I wish to apologize, and I wish to express remorse and reformation for the selfish misdeeds that I've inflicted upon you in the past, and I am sorry.
Oh, I'm not sure how to do this, but yeah, I think Tabitha will. Yeah, she will accept that apology. She puts down the book she was pretending to be reading, and goes over to you and nods to both of you, and she takes your hand and she says, "See, that wasn't so hard, was it? Now we can be the best of friends ever again. You don't have to spend any more time on this silly nonsense about avenging your father or whatever it was you had gotten into your head about that. I heard he's coming back anyway, so everything's fine."
I certainly hope so. And she will go and take a glance at the book that you were seeming to read. Flip it open. Tabby, I didn't know you could read Latin.
I wasn't reading that. I was just pretending to make you angry.
Oh. I place it back down. Is there anything else? I'm feeling good about this scene, but Isaac, is there anything else you want to do with it?
I think I'm okay for the scene to end there. I think as Tabitha does says us, I think Isaac will kind of smile in an amused fashion, but I would obviously at this point like to offer Tabitha a token to fall for Isaac.
Sorry, to offer a token to
Tabitha for her to develop feelings for Isaac.
Oh my God! Yes, I will take that, absolutely.
Perfect.
I think she. So she lingers a little bit, and she gives him a little smile and that sort of coquettish little Mr. Arkwright, I hope to see you soon again, and sachets out of that.
Perfect.
I was also, and I don't know that if this would require a token, but that this Latin book that Tabitha has been pretending to read and really has no idea what it is. Like, what if it was like, Ovid's erotic love poetry, right? That she had no idea that that's what the content was. But maybe, I don't know if Isaac would pick up on that.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, I don't think that will require a token, but yeah, that's I really like that.
I'm so sorry I kept talking over. Yeah, like it's some kind of like French libertine fiction. Like, why is this in just like a public library for anyone walking through a house to see?
Yeah, and I think we will we'll definitely get it in that case. Yeah, Isaac will like clock the sort of title of the book, and doesn't say anything, doesn't pass comment, but there's a definite that look of like, oh, that's interesting.
Can I just, as a almost like a final suggestion, like offer a token to Abigail, and I want to ideally use her vengeful tag, which will also allow her to actually become friends with Tabitha again, because mechanically she can't be friends with Tabitha as long as she's got 3 things. So like a tag that I'm gonna try to compel Abigail to be aware at the end of that incredible heart-watch scene that the other solution to the problem, of course, is Eva just is disinherited and leaves the family. If Eva could just be aware that she can absolutely Eva can be got rid of, she can be removed, and I'm not saying she has to I'm not even saying Abigail has to be aware that she has a plan for that. That's not what I'm pitching. I'm just saying Abigail is aware that Eva is not a permanent problem. As that Eva is absolutely something that doesn't need to be there forever. And just that kind of that thought is the thing that would use the Vengeance tag to have. Right.
So kind of like if things really come down to it, Eva could be dealt with is maybe the thinking.
Yeah. Or but just like it's like the idea like at least it's partially to use the tag, to be honest, but it's also like that again, Abigail being complete. Oh, I'm going to turn over a new leaf, and then as she's leaving, she realizes, this is also an option. Like just as the push and pull there, I guess.
Got it. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Mechanically, does that do anything other than just wipe that tag?
You get a token.
Yeah. And yeah, you'll get the token as well. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, it doesn't compel you to actually do anything to act on that. It's just. I
mean, I could have, because like I could have made it a compulsion, and then you could argue with that. But I don't want to, because it, that seems a too strong compulsion, But like, because I'm sure you would have said no to that, but I think that, yeah.
So
maybe just one of the others where there mentions that when you say that you have to give up your sort of when you have to make peace with Eva, maybe one of the others mentions that, well, if she is still here, they meaning that she manages to get married or moves away to some other relatives or something.
And that token for spending the vengeful tag, that goes to does that go to Eva or does that go to Abigail?
It goes to Eva, I think, because I made it would have gone to me if I made you do something against me. I think. But at the moment it goes to you. Unless David, tell me if I'm wrong there. I presumed it went to Abigail.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it counts as if you were essentially spending that token on when you invoke that thing. It counts as if you were spending that on Abigail. That is correct. So yeah, the token goes to Abigail.
Okay. Thanks, folks.
Awesome. So I'll throw it over to you next. In fact, Kieran, as you weren't involved in that scene, is there a scene that you would like to frame up?
Yeah, I mean, it strikes me quite be Nathaniel, Eva, and our beloved father Edgar. It strikes me as like kind of the morning after, maybe this like the news of the news arriving of your inheritance, that specifically it's the morning papers. Let's have a family response to that. And I also want to something else I want to do in that scene, which work in just to sort of foreshadow. I kind of want to ask about do we have enough money for a dowry? To my father. So that's kind of like that. I think those are the two scenes, to two things. Just the morning conversation after the party, yet more money for Nathaniel, and I suspect I'm going to push for even not having that money. So, cool.
Yeah, so maybe this because we saw Edgar the day after, so either this is the evening or the next day after, maybe.
Yeah, sounds good.
Maybe breakfast one more day later. Maybe.
Yeah, sure. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Nathaniel is arriving a bit later down to breakfast than the others. And he's stretching a bit. Oh, good morning, father, sister.
Hello, Nathaniel. I hope you like cold-boiled eggs, because that's what they are now. She says, clicking somewhat.
Yeah, and the teapot is empty. We'll have to brew you up another pot. What kept you so late this morning? What were you up to last evening?
I was just writing a letter to the Honeyfields, hoping to soften their reaction to the unfortunate events of the evening.
Unfortunate events. I thought the evening was brilliant. I think the crowd, when I saw them, seemed to quite enjoy everything that was transpiring.
I was referring mainly to the fist fights on outside afterwards, but
well, poetry does have the ability to stir up the passions. This is not the first time that such a thing has happened. Any kind of scandalous talk will quickly dissipate.
Well, I'm not so sure about that, but we'll see.
By which point we have got the tea, by which we mean Eva has, and gathered it to Nathaniel. So she says, like, almost good. You did that well last night, Nathaniel. As I said, it was you were a rare rock in that social group. I was quite surprised.
Well, thank you for that. That equally rare compliment.
I expect. I hope they. I hope they will make them precious. What's I saw. Were you consulting with the lawyer yesterday? I saw some manner of like a communication. What's the? You don't often see you speak. Have to be candid. We don't often see you wrestling with papers in such a fashion.
Oh, I'm not sure. It was some message about some inheritance from some distant relative on mother's side. I don't know if it's actually going to come through, but the lawyers are looking at it to see if everything is as it should be.
on my wife's side of the family, you say?
Yes, it's. I don't know the details. It's all gibberish to me that the lawyers speak.
If it's okay, I'd like to tack the rumor to change the fiction in a meaningful way, and it's like making the estate real, as in that kind of way. It's explicit. Oh no, Nathaniel has now gained a major estate, and we can spend that rumor to make that real in the fiction. Yeah.
I don't know how that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
No.
Awesome. At which point you get, I don't know if Eve would lean forward. Where's Nathaniel? You're being incredibly like softly stepping here. Are you seriously saying you're inheriting the Redwood Estates? I'm giving it a name, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Redwood.
That's what the lawyers say, but these things they always get contested by some distant uncle or another who thinks they have a better claim. So I'm not until I have taken possession of everything. I'm not making any assumptions.
The heir of one great estate is good fortune. The heir of two seems more diabolical. Nathaniel, what friends do you have? And like you say, it's like it's jokey but also not jokey.
Are you accusing me of some nefarious plot to assassinate my distant relatives in order to perhaps inherit their heretofore unknown wealth?
Well, I wasn't until you said that. Nathaniel, have you murdered somebody? Like, this is not a continental country. You can't simply do that thing.
Yes, sister, if I had murdered anyone, you would be first to know about it.
And I've just spent a token from Augustus, and I think this is a point where there is a ring at the doorbell, and the maid scurries off and comes back in a moment later with a kind of one of those big glass apothecary style bottles, but wrapped up in brown paper. Says, there was a delivery from the, and then Augustus comes in and says, good, yes, that's probably mine from the chemist. Terrible problem with rats. I'll just be taking that. And he takes the bottle and heads off again.
I didn't know Uncle Augustus was in the rat extermination business.
It does seem a little bit hands-on for him, I must admit. It's not like he ever helped out with the housework before. He was more the cause of rats than an actual cure for them, if you take my meaning.
Oh, Eva, don't be so cruel. Augustus, I know he may be an embarrassment, but you don't need to unnecessarily cast aspersions on him.
Father, it's like people have long since stopped listening to me in this family. I do not think my words matter in the slightest. Sorry, Father.
Oh, this matter of the Redwood Estates. I suppose it you should look into it, but I would advise you to be a little bit careful. That particular branch of the family tree is let us just say that on the outside, the wood appears sturdy, but that side has proven to be a little bit weak and has a tendency to, let us just say, inward rot.
The poetical temperament is spreading to all parts of this tree, I understand. Nathaniel, it's like Eva's a bit lost here, as she sort of tries to sort of, Father, there was actually a matter of involving the situation that I was hoping to talk about, and she just tries to sort of, do we have enough money for the dowry, essentially? If I was so lucky to be in such a position to find a young man, do I have it? And like the way I'm kind of like, just as a kind of a pitch here, like I don't know whether I would like to spend a token hitting my judgmental thing because I've been such a monstrous person that you refuse my dowry. So like I've been so judgmental to everybody. You say no, like the money is earned through poetry. This is like Lempster withholds the dowry until Eva, and in that kind of way, if that makes sense. So Eva's kind of left without a dowry essentially.
Well, yeah, I mean, because I think with Edgar, it's probably both. I think with Edgar on the dowry side, there are probably a lot of different issues. One is perhaps that,
yes.
that he doesn't necessarily feel like he has the property, but I think he also kind of likes Eva helping out with the family. That right, the status quo is something that he's grown kind of used to. He really knows that Eva takes care of things, and if she were to get married, right, that would be disruptive. Right.
A good housekeeper's expensive, That's
yes. But you're bringing up the issue of a possible dowry.
Yeah.
And I think Edgar says, well, when it comes to dowries, those things have to get, discussed and sorted out, and it depends on the young gentleman who is involved. Eva, I wasn't aware that you were, making pursuits in this area. What can you tell me?
A young lady does not make pursuits. A young lady is pursued. Father, things are different for women.
And Father, you shouldn't assume that it's a young gentleman or gentleman.
But enlighten me. What have you been up to, Eva? What soul has perhaps taken a liking to you?
I have spent significant amounts of my time arranging for the marriage of many people in this family. And if my attention and interest is perhaps piqued, I'm merely making sure the soil is fertile and prepared in case the offerer does come. Is that it would be a terrible situation to be approached by a young man and offered a hand and realize there's no way that he could take me. So it is much like in the same way I prepare the food in the house and feed the peacocks and ensure that Nathaniel has his tea. I am ensuring there is a dowry to pay for this hand, which I hope dearly someone to take.
Well, Eva, I give you my blessing. If the appropriate man was to make pursuits, I would certainly talk to him and his family.
Okay. And that Eva sort of leans back a little bit, and that seems to be as good as you can possibly hope for.
I'm thinking I should start spending some of the tokens I've been collecting.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of offering a token to Edgar to be a bit more, maybe put up some requirements on what kind of man he would accept for Eva.
Okay.
I mean, because I don't remember where we landed on if someone had lost the title, if Edgar had lost the title, or if it was someone before. I remember we talked about it.
Yeah, I think it is true that Edgar had lost a title.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to offer a token to Edgar to put as a requirement, maybe not stated right now, but that something he wants, that Eva should marry someone with a proper title to reclaim some of that lost glory.
Yeah, I don't know that we had established exactly how the title was lost. Maybe it had something to do with Edgar's behavior and maybe the cloud that was kind of hanging over his head because of the fact that his wife, nobody seems to know what has happened to her. But yeah, I would accept that, and I think it would be fine in this scene for Edgar to say to Eva, if certainly if it was a gentleman who was in a position to help us return to our own kind of rightful titles, that would be I would do what was in my power to Eva to do that, which would certainly benefit you. But he's thinking, oh, it would really benefit me.
Awesome. Just to clarify here, actually, in this case, probably the token would probably actually go to Eva, because this is acting against
absolutely
against her interests. But yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I've been playing it quite well because I'm mainly making complications for myself by trying to spend tokens that are against me. Like just
Did you say that Augusta spent the token?
Yes. For the moment, it's not something in direct action against anyone. That may change in the future. Right. This is more just in a kind of an establishing a truth about the world, because
cool.
Because basically, normally one would not normally expect somebody in good society to have a big bottle of poison. So that's essentially the spend to establish that he does in fact have a big bottle of poison. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, but I spent a token and that goes to Eva.
Right, got the right button eventually. Yes, that's correct. Yep. Awesome. So on that, did oh, sorry, I should check in. Are people okay with that scene finishing there? Or did anyone have any last moments? Yeah, cool. Yeah, so did someone else have another scene that they would like to frame up within this novel phase? I'll just check in with that first. If not, we'll move on to the next step. But if anyone does have any further scenes I would like to bring in at this point, we can do so.
I've forgotten. Are we in the first or second novel phase for this cycle?
We're in the second novel phase for this cycle. Yep.
Okay, got it.
So yeah, we will have after this. We will have. We'll obviously do the reputation. We'll have a second epistolary phase, and then the upkeep, and then begin a new cycle. Let's make a tick in there. So.
I was wondering, should we try to get the Reverend Collingwood in on something? I feel like he should be. He's feeling the pressure from the bishop or whoever is above him in the hierarchy.
I could certainly see a scene in which he puts a bit of pressure on Lempster to drop this childish schoolyard feud with Brutus, and try to be a peacemaker here because you're making me look bad.
Yeah.
So we could play that out if we wanted to, but it could easily be just part of the epistolary phase. He just writes him a letter and he's like, "Look, you need to lay off here. I know he's a pain, but stop it." Just depending on what people want to do with time, because I know the novel phase can run long sometimes.
I mean, scenes can be short and just spend tokens. You know what I mean? There's that kind of vibe. That's what we've been like, letting it breathe a lot. But like, we can have. I mean, I kind of, when I was doing with what I was going to do with my father was very much like just cut me off. I wanted to be cut off so it can be like literally 3 scenes, 3 lines of dialogue. It doesn't need to breathe that much. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. Sorry, I'm.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, that's not. No, that is perfectly cool. So yeah, if we, what I'll probably say is we'll take a quick break. Anyway, now again, come back in about just about 5 minutes time, and then we'll just I'll have one last check in. So yeah, if people want to think if there are scenes we'd like to see in this novel phase, we'll do those. If not, we'll move on. But yeah, we'll see you back in 5. Awesome. Yeah. So, I will just check in. Do we want to frame up a scene with the Reverend, or do we want to just leave that for kind of epistolary phase? I'm cool either way. Whatever people fancy, really.
I think I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say I'm also, if we do have a scene with the Reverend, I'm happy to tag along with the wife as well. But yeah.
I think for sake of time and just moving through as many cycles as possible, I'm fine with it being relegated to the epistolary phase, so long as I get to at least offer Lempster a token to bury the hatchet, as it were.
Yeah, no, that sounds cool. Yeah, if everyone's good with that, and unless anyone had any other scenes they wanted to frame up in this particular novel scene, otherwise. We can move on to the reputation. I always get those two confused. Sorry, go ahead, Robbie.
Well, I had an idea for a scene, and it could be a scene that wouldn't necessarily have any dialogue cinematically, but I was thinking of a scene, and it might, if I had to spend something, it potentially has something to do with the rumor of Lempster and Isaac having a torrid affair, but it actually involves Lempster giving some fighting and dueling lessons to Isaac.
I really like that. Yeah, that's really cool.
Right. I mean, given that's again, Lempster, feels guilty about what had happened previously with Isaac, and kind of realizes that Isaac, in terms of the gentlemanly arts of fisticuffs and such, might benefit from having some expertise in that area.
No, that's really cool. That's really cool. I like that. So yeah, I think maybe we just get that kind of the that sort of like montage of them. It's
maybe going outside somewhere, and then they come back all hot and sweaty, and some people sometimes are making assumptions about what they have been doing.
Absolutely. No, I really like that. Yeah.
And I have Eva spend a token to have seen the dueling at a distance, because obviously she's watched Nash before. But I'd really just like the idea of Abigail getting a little bit hot and bothered watching like Isaac's fence. Just I like, this makes it it's very different when I saw like the thing happen with the Lord Nash in that way. Just there's a level of fluster to either.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to say probably not. That's probably not worth a token spend, to be honest. I think because we're just framing up very much as a just little shot like that. I think that no, that sounds cool. I don't think that there's a need to spend for that.
Now, does the rumor get spent? I mean, is that
probably not in this case, because I don't think there's really any need for us to invoke a token.
Unless we were going to get one of you arrested.
Yeah, I was going to say unless we actually go to. I mean, now this is. If you did at this point want to invoke bring the Reverend into this and have him berate Lempster or something like that, that would be an appropriate use for a token spend at this point. But otherwise, no, it wouldn't use up that rumor, because it's kind of furthering it, but it's not at this point causing anyone any adverse effect, essentially. Cool. So yeah, no. If people go with that, then just leave that as that little scene. I like that. And yeah, we will move into our cycle of play sheet. Cycle play sheet. I am looking at the cycle play sheet, so I know what I'm doing, hopefully. But into our reputation segment. So I think we all know how this goes by now. We will have our various reputation markers for us to check off on. So I'll go through these again in order. So Eva, do you think that you have done anything to either gain a positive or a negative reputation tag in these last scenes?
Acting service to duty and morality. I mean, there's an argument for the positive tag, like in the obedience. Like I've basically agreed with Edgar's position about marrying. That's the and I didn't immediately complain and explode and run off and elope. not that Isaac would have come, but I could have eloped by myself.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah, I think that sounds like a positive tag to me.
Okay, and negatively, I don't think I did. I think I've been mostly all right. Like, unless act on a design a way that compromises your duty and morality, not yet. Probably defend them. No, I think so. I've got a plus. What? So maybe dutiful. I'll do.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Oh, I've already got dutiful.
Even more dutiful.
Respect. Something door. I'll work out a daughtery word.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Nathaniel, how about you? Same ones, obviously. So on top of the usual duty and morality and conventions ones, did you make a sacrifice to show you're not like the rest of your family, or publicly defend any member of your family?
I don't think anything really fit. I don't think I've done anything that's really been a hardship or a sacrifice, but I haven't done anything controversial either, really.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and because that the big thing we've seen just now was with your family, so it's you're not publicly defending them against others. So no, that's cool.
Yeah, but I think this includes the poetry evening as well, right?
No, we did resolve that at the end of last session.
Right, there's a reputation.
There's a reputation phase after each novel chapter. Yeah,
then definitely enough.
Yeah, cool. No, worries. No, that's perfectly fine. So for my own, I don't feel like I hit on any of my positive or negative ones here particularly. No, I don't think so. My special ones are secure a personal invitation from someone of higher social status. Again, it does not feel significant enough, the scene that we had with Lady Abigail, for it to count, because I've already hit that one before, and so it doesn't really feel like milking that one really. And I don't feel like I acted in an uncouth, low class, or vulgar manner particularly in what we've seen. Cool. Abigail, do you feel like you have hit any positive or negative tags? Your ones are, so I'm just reminding myself of these. Make a sacrifice or denied your desires to uphold the superiority of your rank, or allowed others of lesser rank to talk down to you or treat you as an inferior.
Right. I feel like looking at the positive tag options, I kind of did a combination of the latter two on some level. I think I denied my desires in order to act in obedience to conventions, or acted in obedience to conventions despite considerable hardship. Like I basically said, I'm not going to follow up on avenging my father because it's causing me more problems in the society in which I live.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think there's some extent an argument that you sort of gave up one desire for another of your own desires, but because the desire that you gave it up for is the conventionally, socially acceptable one, as opposed to the seeking revenge, I think that's yeah, I
Sure.
agree with that 100%. I think that's a positive one there.
Yeah, I don't think negative tags really come in here as far as I can see.
No, I'd agree.
Okay, that works for me then.
Perfect. And Lempster, how about yourself? So again, I'll just check your ones are denied your desires or made a sacrifice to uphold the family name, or shamed or embarrassed the family name. Oh, sorry, I think you were muted there.
Yeah, sorry. But I don't think either positive or negative.
No, I'd agree. Actually, we were thinking of actually, probably should have. We didn't actually see much of Lempster in that. So sorry about that. I should have. It's the confusion of having people playing lots of different characters. It's you lose track of which characters have had more screen time, if not which players. But yeah, no, I'd agree. I don't think we saw what we did see of Lempster. I don't think we hit any of those particularly. Cool. So that is our reputation sorted. Oh yeah, and obviously, as a reminder at this point, if you have hit 3 reputation tags in either a positive or a negative, you gain a reputation condition. If you have lost if you have dipped below 3 in a particular one, then you lose any reputation condition you currently have.
Some advice from the as a group preference thing. I've got a positive reputation tag now. And my previous one is, my negative one is family members reject your advice, support, and affection. And I have 2 positive ones, one of which is family members seek your advice and will appear to follow it if it's reasonable. So it's contradictory. So I can't pick that one. So I've got to really pick the other one, which makes me head of household, which is also means that anyone who wants to get married has to come through me. So it's like both are quite weird fits for my situation, I guess.
Yeah.
I lean towards head of household, and I'll work out how to do it in play. But basically, anyone has to come for marriage except for me. Like I'm running the household, maybe, and it's the kind of I'm the exception. I guess.
Yeah. We can probably make that one work somehow if you're interested in that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's if everyone's ignoring me, it's kind of it's quite funny. I get to boss everyone around. Else, there's something amusing there. Yeah, amusing, but interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and also actually, in fairness, I was just looking over it again. In fairness, it doesn't say that anyone who wants to deal with your family, like, is required to come to you. They just do, as it were. So you know, even if within the family people are kind of turning away from you, society as a whole still sees you as the sensible head, you know, on the thing. So yeah, I think that makes sense anyway. And it's an interesting tension, yeah. But no, that's cool. That's cool.
She was clearly the one who arranged this whole poetry reading thing to everyone's satisfaction and so on.
And I fed the peacock repeatedly, so there's a lot of skills that Eva's bringing.
Indeed. Awesome. So that's our reputation phase sorted. So we're on to our second epistolary phase. And yeah, this as well at this point, as a reminder, obviously at this point, if you know, if people want to kind of achieve things, get stuff done, you can kind of just refer to that as having happened in this epistolary phase, and that's perfectly fine. If it's something that would require a token spend or whatever to do, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, awesome. In fact, actually, I'll go to Lempster first this time, because we didn't get to see much of Lempster himself in the novel phase we've just had. Do you have an idea for something you would like to see in the epistolary phase?
Yeah, so I think just following up on the scene, a letter from Lempster to Isaac, and the letter you know, says I've quite enjoyed our mock duels. You're you know, though you may be new to the activity, you know, you clearly your athleticism and talent is clear. You know, I hope you don't have to actually use those skills in a serious matter, but you know, that they are, you know, it's always, I have discovered that it's useful to have, you know, such abilities at the ready should the need arise. And I, beyond you know, our you know, engagements you know, with the athletic duels, you know, I hope that you know, your time here is kind of proving to be positive and beneficial in other respects as well. You know, from what I can tell, your reputation is you know, on the climb, and it's much deserved.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, does someone else have an idea for a scene they would like to have in this for their first epistolary scene?
Yeah, I think Nathaniel will write to Isaac. Mr. Arkwright, it was very nice to make your acquaintance at my father's poetry recital the other day. I understand you have a greater appreciation of his work than I do, but perhaps it is just a son being too close to his father to appreciate his creativity. I have heard some probably scurrilous rumors that you have become closer acquainted with Lord Marwood. I should warn you that while he is a very pleasant person and friendly and loyal, he does not have the best reputation. I realize that saying this as someone from my own family background may not carry a lot of weight, but I just want you to be careful about your choice of company should you wish to advance in society. I also understand that you are acquainted with Lady Nash, and if you I would be if you have any insight into her current state of mind, I would be most grateful to hear your thoughts on that. Yours, etc., etc.
Can I offer you a token to add a PS?
What would that be?
Something like my sister my sister keeps on mentioning you. For God's sake, come over and have tea sometime. That is equivalent to that.
Oh yeah,
literally as the PS.
Yeah. I will take that token. Yes. P.S. I have heard my sister mention your name several times, and I think nothing short of a visit will satisfy her curiosity about your person. You will also get a chance to view become acquainted with the peacock, which may be more pleasant.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, does excuse me, Ava, Abigail, do either of you have a thought for your scene?
I was just going to go ahead and do the letter to Lempster from the Good Reverend about, in so many words, he'll say, look, you're better than this. It's very important that we keep up appearances. I know that this man is very well practiced at pushing one's buttons, as the saying goes, and at the same time, it is very important that you uphold your better nature, listen to the angels of your better nature, and try to bury the hatchet. I mean, I'm using a bunch of anachronistic idioms here, but you get the point. That's what he's going to try to say, and I'll even, if I can, in the epistolary phase, offer a token to Lempster if he is willing to try to keep things pacified between him and Davenport, but you're under no obligation to.
Yeah, I think to keep the peace between me and Davenport, I would take that token. I think that there might be other people in the wings who can take on Lord Davenport if the need arises.
Awesome. Cool. Oh, you go ahead.
I was just saying I could jump on my letter then.
Yeah, no, go for it. Yeah.
This isn't what I was going to do, but I see this is my only choice now that letter's been written from the Reverend. The letter is simply from the I forgot his name. I've literally forgotten the name of my character. Sorry about this. Yeah, it's a letter from Lord Davenport, which would read simply: "I demand satisfaction. The weekend in a place and weapons of your choosing." And that's just the whole letter. I'm not attaching anything else to that.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think for Isaac, I'm going to go for another weather interlude scene thing, and I'm going to go for where is it? Yes. I'm going to go for overcast weather. So a broody or contemplative vignette or monologue, a difficult question. So I think we see Isaac at one of the places where he and Lempster have been training. I'm imagining like a big like up on sort of one of the moors, the sort of the where there's a sort of big like flat rocks and stuff around, and that kind of gritstone floor, so it almost forms like a little arena type setup. And he's there. It's it's a blustery day, grey clouds, a little bit of drizzle, not heavy rain, but just sort of slightly damp in the air. And he's kind of pacing about the they said this gritstone floor, and he draws out from next in his breast pocket was clearly the letter that we saw written from Lempster, and kind of folds and unfolds it a couple of times in his hand before tucking it back away into his jacket, and says, well, at least we get the narration of him saying, "I know I ought to bear more ill will towards Lempster, but despite everything, he's always been good to me, and I envy him. I wish I could be as free-spirited as him and not so bound to these petty requirements of my my father and what everyone expects of me. To be able to travel, the world, live the way I wish, love who I wish, be who I wish to be. I cannot imagine anything better, but I do not know if I can be as brave as he." And sort of stares off into the into the drizzle as it starts to get a little heavier. Awesome. So yeah, does someone have an idea for their second scene?
Most of it I do actually, but I've got to like offer at Nathaniel a token before I start. I just want to make sure it's okay. I want to actually hit the affair rumor, and I basically want Eva to have she wrote to somebody. I want her to have hard evidence, or at least like evidence it happened. And I want her to basically have. She's going to write to the Reverend and have a moral dilemma. But I just want to like introduce the fact that Eva has some evidence, and now it's what people might do with it. Is that something that you're interested in, or is that kind of like something you want to modify, or?
Which rumor?
Oh no, it's Lempster and Isaac had a horrid affair. So I misread the thing. I'm so sorry.
Although obviously,
the other one.
yeah. Though obviously Nathaniel and Lempster actually did have an affair. So I mean, if you wanted to just, I mean, obviously that wouldn't be drawing on the rumor.
I will spend my token because I spent a token to get context on last time. So I would spend my own token then to have evidence come back from the previous person in France.
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
That's interesting.
Cool.
I'll take that token.
In which case, the letter goes like this: Reverend, I write to you in a sense of real moral confusion. It's difficult. You urged me to take control of my family, to take the money away, take the fortunes away from my dear older brother, in hope that I can be, better safeguard it, and I would look after him and care for him. And I found some most scandalous history, some real information that can perhaps do something here. But my fears are manifold. Firstly, this would affect my family. My family's name is dark indeed, and to bring Nathaniel down publicly, this risk being public, and therefore all of us would be dealing with this more equally. So I could gain this family's fortune at the expense of my family. This cannot feel right. Equally, even if it doesn't come out, I sense I would have to blackmail him or blackmail my father, and these are all sins, Father. I cannot, even if it's for good, I cannot see why. And thirdly, my brother is an idiot, and he is capable of many, many bad things, but he does not seem an evil man. He has acted kindly. Yes, he will drive his family over a cliff, but I do not think he will do it with evil in his heart. His evil lies lower down the body. Sorry. But Father, this is difficult for me. I write for you, wishing whatever advice you may give. I'm a humble servant of the Lord, yours, Eva. And that's all. Actually sends off the letter. It's her sitting with her evidence by the peacock, looking at it sadly.
Cool. Thank you. Yes. So, does someone else have an idea for a scene they would like to set?
I have an idea. See what the others think, and this would involve me spending a token, if you want your major character or connection you control to do or know something difficult or unlikely, which is of significance to the story. I'm imagining that that Lord Nash has been in touch with Lempster, and Lempster normally, Lord Nash has been in touch with Lempster, asking Lempster if he could arrange for him to stay in the area but not be known. And Lempster would not normally, his letter would say something like, Lord Nash, this request under normal circumstances is one that I would immediately turn down. But since you accompanied your request to me with the names and letters of introduction of people on the continent who I met during my travels and who I respect greatly, I must take your request more seriously. I am making arrangements for you to have a room with a who would he have a room with? A room in the town. It is perhaps a room that is below your station, but since you request a place where you could stay and be discreet, I am happy to do this arrangement on the strength of the other letters of introduction that have accompanied your request. I must emphasize that whatever business you have here must be the type of business that will bring no ill repute to me or my other acquaintances here, whose reputation I greatly value. So would that be okay? And that would that be spending a token to bring for that?
Yeah, I think that would probably be a token spend to kind of establish that as fact. But yeah.
Okay.
I think I have my second, and I assume this is going to cost me a token. I'm not sure if it will go to anyone. Nathaniel is getting a letter from his lawyers about the same information that Eva received. That Mr. Gracefield, it has come to our or to my knowledge that your sister has been corresponding with some persons on the continent, and that she may have received information that, if it were true, could be harmful to your reputation and station. And it would, of course, be my pleasure to do what I can to make sure that the source of this information is not seen as reliable or otherwise protect your interests in this matter for our usual, as part of our usual retainer, of course. Yeah, signed, I don't know if we have a name for the lawyer, but yeah.
I think I get that token because it's worse than my position. Like it's who makes my position worse. So I think it's definitely me, as in, you know.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
Yeah, that sounds good. Awesome. Yeah, so I think oh, sorry, Robbie, did you? No, cool. So I've kind of lost track of who has gone for a second time. But I think I know what my next one is going to be. I think I think Isaac is going to write to Tabitha, and say, dear Miss Honeyfield, it was a pleasure to meet you the other day. To see you again the other day, and I know you told your sister that you were not capable of reading the book that you had. If, however, you are interested in learning a little of the language, I would be happy to tutor you a little, perhaps on a book that is slightly less advanced than the volume you had, but any favor I can do for a relative of Lady Abigail, it would be my pleasure to do so. Signs off. Yes, I also just noticed. Yeah, we have gotten monologue tokens, which we'll get to in a moment in the upkeep phase. We can kind of use them there if we've not used them by that point. I always forget to remind. We can also use them in the epistolary phase as well. If we like, for instance, if somebody's just written a letter and you think, oh, actually, is that what you really think? But yeah, I keep forgetting them as well. So that is cool. Abigail, had you had your second scene yet?
I haven't. I'm curious. I'm not really sure what to do with it. To be honest, I was thinking of maybe sending a message back to Lempster from Esther. But I'm not really sure what that would consist of.
Lempster did pick up the fracture because he had 3 negative tags, and so he now has a condition fracture, which I can read.
It's someone won't talk to him, basically, or
right. Someone close to you is appalled by your behavior and refuses to talk to you.
Have we? I might have missed. Have we decided who that applies to?
We have not. I mean, it could apply. It could apply to Esther, and right in the previous epistolary phase, Lempster did reach out to her. So.
Well, if you'd like, we can just codify that formally and have her send a letter basically saying in so many words that she's far too troubled by these recent revelations and conflicts and needs some time to herself to straighten herself out and to think about what she really wants. And she thinks it would be good if you would do the same and that kind of thing. Does that sound reasonable? Cool, we'll go with that then.
Can I spend my monologue token on Lempster to know what he feels about this?
About that letter from Esther?
Yeah, I want to know the heartbreak, or is it relief, or what is it?
Yeah. So I think Lempster gets that rather brusque letter. He's standing on a balcony at night, looking out. And he carefully folds up the letter and says, Esther, I can understand what would motivate you to write this letter. But our friendship is long and it's deep, and while I still have great and grave questions about whether it would ever be in either of our best interests to marry, I certainly cannot allow this division between us to last. I will certainly be giving this much thought, but I hope you can forgive me for disobeying your request in this letter, because I can't bear to have you feeling animosity towards me. That just would not be right.
Awesome. Cool. Did I miss anyone else out for a second? Epistolary scene. I feel like everyone else has done too. Yeah, cool. Awesome. Thank you. So we will now proceed into our final phase for the cycle, which is the our upkeep phase. So the first thing we do as part of this is we will use up any remaining monologue tokens, and then they all get refreshed again. So we'll probably just do this fairly quickly, I think, here. So anyone who has a monologue token left can ask a question of someone who hasn't yet been asked a question. And just this can be just what interested to know their feelings about a particular thing or person or event or whatever else. If we keep them fairly focused, I think, for this one, just because we're kind of coming up on time. But yeah, so the people that have not yet monologued this cycle are Eva, myself, and Nathaniel. So yeah, that's it. And I think Nathaniel, Abigail, and Lempster all have their monologue tokens left. So if one of you wants to pick someone and ask a question, go ahead. Actually, I'm going to say I'll ask Nathaniel first, because you're the only person who both has a monologue token and has not monologued. So
Yeah.
Sorry, yes. Sorry, I should have clarified what I meant there. If you would like to, you spend your monologue token and ask someone else who hasn't yet a question first, and then the other two can pick up. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Isaac what his thoughts are on Lord Davenport at the moment.
Yeah. So I think honestly, at this particular point in time, he's not really thinking about Lord Davenport all that much. The events at the poetry reading were unseemly and all that, but in his own way, he still doesn't really take the way that Lord Davenport treats him personally, almost. There is also there is absolutely also a kind of weird ex-schoolboy crush thing going on there too, and that's still kind of present in the background, but he's kind of been distracted from Lord Davenport, really, particularly by kind of rekindling the friendship with Lempster. Lord Davenport isn't really on his mind all that much at the moment. Yes, so I'll throw things over to either Abigail or Lempster if you wish to have a question for one or other of the Gracefields.
All right, I'll spend it for. I'd like to hear something from Eva, some private thoughts from her. I guess I'm curious to know about, Eva was asking about the dowry, and a question as to like, it's something along the lines of like how does Eva see any way out of kind of breaking her dependence on Edgar when it comes to matters such as dowries. I mean, her father, clearly seems to be somewhat bumbling and is not as organized, right, as efficient and right. But does she see any way out of what would it take her to get out of being she seems like she's still really having to kind of serve at the will and whim of her bumbling father. Is there any way out of that?
Well, on some level, I mean, I think when I was doing that scene, it's like, it's proper that I should have a dowry. So that's a lot of it's almost like she's got a kind of like sort of Regency wedding planner. She's arranged a lot of weddings. She knows how it's done. She knows how to cater one. She knows they need a dowry. So in some ways, her doing that was actually much more like practical than what she viewed as your job is to, literally you have one job, Dad, and your job is to make sure that all these people have a dowry. Have you done that job, or have you been writing yet more verse? And so she hasn't really even thought about the impacts of that stuff. And it is kind of like, and it's the interesting thing is, I don't think she's kind of put the two and two together between her basically inheriting the family and her being able to free to do whatever the hell she likes. It's like she hasn't even quite in some ways, her taking over the family is in some ways just stopping in her head Nathaniel destroying it, and that's at least how she's justified it to herself. And I think on some level there is a level of there's a low level of anger I don't think that Eva's quite dealt with. Obviously, everyone else knows that Eva's angry because it just comes out of her in waves. But they're kind of like, oh yeah, of course Nathaniel's gonna get a second estate. That's yet more stuff on the fire. And it's definitely like, sort of stepping back to be a player for a second. It's definitely like all the way through the session I've been thinking, do I make Eva just go full villain? Because I feel like almost like the group needs a villain. I felt it halfway through, as in everyone else is kind of leaning towards redemption. So there needs to be someone to kick against. But like where we've ended the session has led me much more interested in the more conflicted Eva, in terms of she's been pushed and pulled in different ways. So I think she's a transitory stage is the best way of putting it. She needs to read some Marxism and understand how all these things tie together, basically. And she's decades too early for Marxism. So
perfect. Thank you. So Abigail, do you have a question for Nathaniel? Sorry, I don't know why I'm forgetting names I've used a dozen times already.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's a lot. We'll just spend the monologue token with Nathaniel to see. I'm curious to hear what his feelings on Abigail are. That seems appropriate.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, Nathaniel is definitely interested in Abigail, and I think that's an unusual feeling for him. I mean, she's a bit too young for him to. Originally, he didn't take her seriously, I think, but he's starting to become interested and curious about what kind of person she is. And he is a bit surprised at himself that he is interested, because after all, he's had many other kinds of experiences, and but he is drawn to her in some way that he doesn't quite understand himself. And this is all mixed up with his desire to unite the families, make peace between the families, and so he's not clear himself about what he's feeling, what is genuine emotion, and what is practical considerations, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that works.
Awesome. Awesome. Brilliant. So I think actually what we'll do, there's a few more steps we need to do in the upkeep phase, but I think what we'll do is do them at the beginning of next session, because it's the first time we'll have done kind of reviewing our inner conflicts and all that. So I'd rather not like be doing that running up against the end of our time, and give it some time at the beginning of next session, so we're not rushing it. The other thing we will have the option, I did mention this last time, but I'll just mention it again. Now that we are like a couple of cycles in, if at this point you start to feel like the desires you started off with aren't as relevant to your character anymore, and you want to change those to something else, that's also something we can do. And that's, if you want to think about that, like between now and next week, I'll check in and mention it again next time, but it's just something to be thinking of if you think kind of what your character is after has shifted, and so on and so forth. That's perfectly cool as well. But yeah, with that, we will leave things there for the evening. Thank you very much, everyone. It has been a lot of fun. I'll just stop our recording.